Nobody likes to eat at an empty restaurant. Let me explain. When you are walking on a street somewhere and you see a restaurant that's beautiful and there's no one in there, even though that restaurant might look all right, you start questioning, well, why is no one eating there? Same thing with seduction. No one wants the unwanted. No one wants someone that's not attracted to other people. And when you see a little shop outside and then there's a line and there's just a little hole in the wall or there's some food truck and there's a line, then you kind of want to eat there because you figure, well, all these people want to eat there, must be good. It's all about perception. Perception is the number one reason why or why not you become attractive. And that becomes what it is based on the perception that things that are on demand or things that people want are better. It's not true. That beautiful restaurant might have great food, but if you have limited time, limited money, limited resources, are you going to spend that time and resources into something that's unproven? Probably not. And it's like reviews. You see the reviews on a restaurant and you see 1,000 5-star reviews and you say, well, 1,000 people can be wrong. And you see a different restaurant with 3 reviews and they're all 2 stars. Then you probably assume that restaurant or that place sucks. And we don't have personal stars or reviews, but we do. Your reputation precedes you and the perception of the kind of person you are will be the factor that brings attraction, that will make a woman attracted to you based on the perception that you're good enough for other women to want you. And a lot of men make the mistake of not making themselves attractive or hiding who they really are from the fear that if women think that you're in demand or that you're attractive, that they're not going to want you. And the opposite is true. That's why rock stars, they have a bunch of girls and groupies that want them. And you figure, well, all these girls want them. Other girls are not going to want them because look at them. They have all these girls around them. And that's not true. The next city they go to, they have a whole bunch of other groupies, other girls that want them. And the way that psychologically works is that if you are constantly trying to not be who you are, that comes off as someone that's not on demand. And don't hide that. That's your secret weapon. You want to be that hole in the wall that has a line out the door. And more people want to get in line to buy the food. So don't hide the fact that you're a charming person and that women want you. Hiding it, all it's going to do is going to make you seem as not good enough, even though that's not true. But it's going to seem that way. Perception, the control of perception is a major factor in seduction. Same is true in the opposite, where if you portray yourself to be this, I don't know, you use, this shy guy that's doesn't have anything going on. And you think that that's going to attract women because, oh, wow, look at him. He's such a good guy and he's always lonely and he's not out there and women don't want him. I want him. That's probably not going to happen. I have encountered a different problem sometimes because I'm not, even though I have this podcast about seduction and attraction and the human dynamic, I'm very private in my private life and I don't post anything. Actually, you will never see any woman on any of my social media, on my timeline, on anything, ever. And because I'm not trying to play that game, I got to pass that, right? So I'm very private in that sense. The weird part is that women think I'm hiding it, right? Or they think I'm sure you got a bunch of girls or whatever it is, even though I never show that. But the perception is what matters. It's not the truth. The truth does not matter. Perception of the truth is more important than the truth. That's how we get manipulated. Politicians are great at that, where their perception or the perception they put forward of the truth becomes the truth. But the real is the real, but people either don't pay attention or don't care. The perception of that truth is what matters to people. And if you want to attract a woman, the perception that you are this boring guy with nothing going on it'll hurt you more than help you. And like I said, it's a double-edged sword because your reputation precedes the truth as well. Someone that used to be a criminal and was a thief and a bank robber, and that's what people see this person as. That's the truth of that person. Even though they may be a church-going person now and a great person, it's hard to outlive your reputation. So reputation management in seduction is mega, mega important. Perception management is extremely important. How do you control this? Well, you got to have a plan. Who is the person that you want people to see you as? We're not speaking of who are you or who's that person. And if you can reconcile that and become the person that you want people to see you, and then now you're just authentically you, that's the best because you don't have anything to hide. There's no management. But a lot of times that's not the case because your reputation, like I said, precedes you. And if they have a perception or a first impression of you, that's going to outlast all the attempts to change that. But if you're in the world and you want to be attractive and you're looking for that person or those people or those persons or whatever, you have to have a plan on, okay, I want this to be the perception of me. This is my brand. And you work towards that. And hiding the fact that you're out there and you might be partying or you have a lot of women friends or whatever it is, hiding that is going to hurt you. Now, if you're looking for that one, right? If you're not just out there trying to get a bunch of girls or whatever it is, and you're looking for that one person, same applies. That no one wants a boring guy. No one wants that empty restaurant. So show your fun side. Show that side of you that you are. Be authentic about that. And if not, create it. You have to get out there. You're not going to find anything in your room, in your house. If you're just isolated from the world, you're not going to find anyone. That's obvious. Create the perception that you are fun. And because you are, we all are. We all have, and our idea of fun is different. So create the perception that's the closest to the truth that you want to portray. And it's hard to do because all of our lives, women say that they want a person that is a good guy, that he's just wants them and that he's this homebody. And women say that. Women want that relationship with that stable guy that brings them stability and comfort and all of that. In theory and on paper, that's what they want. But in reality, no one wants that. No one wants that. And same goes with the perception of women. You see a lot of women that are beautiful and they portray this and they portray themselves as fun and out there. And maybe they're out there partying or they're doing a million things and they seem to be women on demand. And that's attractive to us men because again, we don't want to eat at an empty restaurant. Yet some of these women, once you meet them, you realize that they're a lot of times insecure. A lot of times they are overcompensating for who they are not and wish they are. And my experience has been that some of these women that portray all the fun on social media and all of that and all this outgoingness are the most boring. I'm saying not all of them, but a lot of them, they're not that. And when you meet them and you get to the bottom of who they are, you notice that they're someone completely different. Yet I've met these, in Spanish, it's this thing, mosquita muerta, right? This dead fly, this harmless, innocent girl, woman. And then when you meet them and you really get to know them, you realize they're the opposite as well. They're not that. They're not that innocent. They're probably worse than these crazy girls. And there's nothing wrong. It's not judging one way or the other, but just making a point on how perception shapes our reality. But the reality is still real. The truth is always the truth. And it doesn't matter how much they try to portray something they are. Always, always keep an open mind. And I will go even as far as go in the opposite spectrum of what they portray. There's another saying of, show me you and I will learn what you lack. I'm butchering that, but basically is most people overcompensate what they don't have. A lot of broke people act rich. A lot of rich people, and I know some that they're rich, you would never know. The most simple life ever. So I've learned to not judge a book by its cover. The title says blah, blah, blah. The book looks like it's blah, blah, blah. When you open those pages, it's a whole different story in there. And if you learn to be patient and not judge books by their cover, you're going to, one, avoid a lot of heartbreak, a lot of disappointment from women that you thought were one way, they're not. And you're going to be able to write a different story for yourself. But you still need that cover to be attractive. You need people to buy the book. And you need your restaurant to look like it's popping. You need to be on demand. You don't want an empty restaurant out there. No one's going to want to eat there. Even though at the end of the day, you might want peace and you want to eat at an empty restaurant. And you're going to get your food quicker. You're going to get better service. But first, we all want the popular popping spot with a line out the door. Just to say that we're in the in crowd. You get to a point that you get beyond that and you go into the empty restaurant and you eat there and you have a great meal. But I'm speaking to those that want to control and manage perception. You need to be aware that everything you post, everything you do, every place you go tells a story about you. And if you really want to attract that person or those persons, the type of people you're looking for reflect the person that you're portraying to be. You may portray yourself to be one way. You're a completely different person. Is that wrong? Who knows? But if that's what you want to do, then that's authentically what you want to do, then do that. But don't hide. Don't hide who you are, what you do, who you're with in exchange to portray something that you're not, if you can manage that. If not, then come up with a plan. Be like, okay, I want to be this fun guy. I want women to think that I'm fun and outgoing. Even if you're not, then it's so easy to fool people with social media and just portray that. And you're going to get some traction. Like I said, the opposite is true where I don't play those games, but I am just me on social media. I'm a loner, not in the fact that I don't have people around me or don't want to be around people. I'm a loner in the fact that I like being with me and I like spending money on me. I like going places with me. I like traveling with me. I like me. So that's what it is. Yet some women believe that that's not me, that is the opposite, that I'm hiding, that I'm not being real. No matter, because at the end of the day, I'm with me and I know what's true. But I also know that it's true to manage that perception for the good or for the worse. If you don't manage it, people will manage it for you. They will make a story to fit their narrative. Don't let that happen. You control your narrative. You control your story. And if you are having problems or difficulties meeting people, meeting the right kind of people, look at your perception. Look at what the perception about you, and you're going to find the problem right away. People probably think you're one way. You're like, well, no, I don't portray that. So how can they think that people will make a story about you no matter what? So give them the fuel that you want them to have. Give them the firewood to create the fire that you want them to create. If you don't give them firewood or fuel, they're still going to create a story. And that story could hurt you. It happens a lot with jobs where if people think you're not dependable, you're not someone that can get the job done because everything you portray is that, you're not going to get the job. You're not going to get the opportunities. Same thing in seduction. You're not going to meet the people that you want in your life if the story that you portray is one that is not the one. I wanted to put that out because it took me long to learn that even though we may think social media is not important, we may think that visibility is not important, it is. And the lack of visibility is still a story and people will fill in the blanks. And that's fine if you really truly don't care. But if you care, and we all do, we care about our reputation and you should, then control it. Put the content strategically out there that's going to create the story that you want people to tell about you. People believe that story more than the truth. There's no way around it. And I'm speaking from experience. This is in theory. Like I said, I'm pretty boring online in my personal life. Yet the story is different to some people. And that's perfectly fine, but it's hard to break that story later. So control it from the get-go. control the narrative, control. And you got to use social media, even if you want to be a lone wolf and not be in social media, whatever. It doesn't have to control your life, but you can be strategic about it, right? And put those things out there that are going to be the defining factor about your story. If you post yourself with guns in every post, people will think that you're a gun-toting crazy, or I don't know what they would think, a criminal. But if you don't post yourself at all, people may still think that. People will think whatever they want to think based on their own story. They can only come up with a story that makes sense to them, not the truth. The truth may not make sense. They might not even understand the truth. They have to have a story that makes sense to them. And you have to be simple and give them the tools for them to create that story that you control. You can be an empty restaurant, but don't be alarmed when no one wants to eat there. Or you can be that hole in the wall with the line outside, people around the corner wanted to be there. And that might not be the truth either. Just try to be as real as you can. But sometimes real is not good enough. Sometimes you got to tell the story that you want to be told about you. Then that story becomes real. Become the identity that you're portraying. Or you will become that anyway. Portray the identity that you want to become. I think that's the moral of the story. The story you tell is what you become. So you're not becoming, you are the story. Don't say, I am working on blah, I am doing this. You are that already. You're fun, then you're fun. You're not becoming a fun guy. You are a fun guy. And you tell that story over and over, and that story becomes true because there's a phenomenon called cognitive dissonance. And it means that our brain tries to become or make sense of what it believes to be true. And if you believe you are something, you become that. But you won't believe that until you start stating that that's your story, that is who you are. Hopefully this helps if you're at a place where you're just having difficulties. Maybe you're a good looking guy, you got everything going, and you're just failing at meeting people or the right people. It's like, why do I keep falling into these situations or non-situations? It's the story you're telling, 100%. Do a survey. Go look for yourself from the outside as if you were someone else, and you see the story that you're telling. It's going to be clear. And if that's not the story you want to be telling or you want to tell, reshape it. Delete everything. Start new. Change the story that you're telling online to the story that you want to become real. And it will become real. Not overnight. Also, you cannot take years of portraying the story or telling a story, and overnight, you got a new story. The consistency on you telling that story over and over again is what becomes that story. Hope that helps. If someone you know could benefit from this, make sure you share it and subscribe, because these are the gems that I'm giving you based on experience, not on a million YouTube videos from gurus, none of that. You might have your own story that's even better. Then I'm actually interested to hear it. I love everybody's story. Everybody has a story, and I love different stories. There are no boring stories. If you dig deep enough, you'll find that everybody is interesting, including those boring girls. Be careful with those. They're not as boring as you think. And those fun girls, they're not as fun as you think. So till next time, peace.